So welcome back. I hope you enjoyed How to Focus, our session one. We're going to do make wise decisions. How do I make wise decisions? Well, we talked about what your one thing was, your lead domino. What's that thing that, in the area of life that's not working at the level that you want, or something that you're dreading? You figured out what that is and you gained focus on what that one thing is. Now, how do you make wise decisions around that? Well, here's what we're going to talk about. Law number 2, make wise decisions to reduce stress under pressure. Make wise decisions to reduce stress under pressure. So the path to wise decisions is this, and this is from F.M. Alexander. He was actually an actor who, when he would get up to act, he would get laryngitis. And they couldn't find anything physically that was wrong with him. And so he ended up finding out that ultimately it was because of stage fright and things that were going on in his body. So he created this Alexander technique that helped people. But one of the things that he said was, to make wise decisions, people do not decide their futures, they decide their habits, and their habits decide their futures. Let me say that again. People do not decide their futures, they decide their habits, and their habits decide their futures. So remember, you've got that one thing, that one action item that I hope you've already completed, okay? You probably got some feedback from that, some response. Okay, now what we're going to talk about is how do we create a habit around habits of success? Well, let me ask you this. How long does it take to establish just one powerful habit? How long does it take? Just write that down. Okay, again, have some paper with you. This is a workshop. I want you to engage to teach this, not just to learn it, but to be able to train it to your team, to your spouse, whatever that looks like. Well, here's the key. This is where, on the left-hand side, the vertical axis is discipline. On the right-hand side, on the bottom, the horizontal, is time. So the role of discipline in achievement is that after about 66 days of doing a habit for 66 days or 66 iterations, so if it's a weekly habit, it would be 66 weeks. That's how long it takes to form a habit, okay? That's not saying it every time. It really determines on how difficult the habit is, how much you've done in the past that was similar to that habit, how your discipline levels in the past have been, different things, and just the level of difficulty of the whole habit to begin with. But typically, on average, it takes 66 days to do a habit. So how do we do that? Well, this is what we do. This is coaching and accountability around keeping the consistency of it. So don't break the chain. You see over here, this is a handout that I can share with you. If you contact me, I'd love to give it to you and help you with this practice. Is accountability is the breakfast of champions. And so you take your 66-day challenge calendar and you basically write whatever habit it is in the area. You circle what area it is. You can see at the top, there's different areas of your life. Remember the 7 areas that we talked about in the first session? Those 7 areas of your life. And then you write down what it is, that habit that you want to do. And you take a big red marker and you make X's for each day that you do it. Every single day you move forward, then you do it. Once you get to the 66 days, that's whenever you've become making that point of automaticity and it's actually become a habit in your life. Many people think it's just 20 days. Some people say 22, some people say 30. It really takes longer than that. So if you've done something, eating well, drinking water, any of those things, those habits that you've tried to create and you haven't been able to do it, this is why, okay? So this is what it looks like. What do we do? Time blocking. Time blocking means to get your schedule out, whether it be an online schedule, a calendar, paper, whatever it is, whatever that you use. It can even be a piece of paper printed off, okay, from the internet. Whatever that looks like, you want to first time block your time off, your vacation time, your Sabbath day of rest. If you take off on a Saturday, a Monday, or, whenever you take off, maybe Friday, whatever that looks like for you. Then you also want to time block your one thing, okay? Remember we talked about focusing on what is my one thing? Like if it's working on something in your relationship, well, what's the lead domino to that relationship that would help it? Well, let me text my wife and ask her out on a date. Okay, well, now I need to start doing that for 66 times, 66 weeks before it becomes a habit. Or maybe it's, hey, I need to eat healthier because I know I'm gaining weight. So I'm going to do a green smoothie. That's the one thing I'm going to do. Or maybe it's drinking 64 ounces of water. Maybe it's just drinking a glass of water when you get up in the morning. Whatever that looks like, create a habit around it, okay? Just like what Jay Papasan, the co-author of the book, said. His mom was actually a dental hygienist, and she used to use the analogy of just flossing one tooth at a time for 66 days, because then you just build the habit of flossing. Now, you're not flossing all your teeth, but you've made it such a small thing, such a 2-inch domino, that, okay, I can floss one tooth before I go to bed at night. And then I'm going to floss the next tooth. Then I'm going to floss the next tooth. And you do that for 66 days, then it becomes easy to be able to floss all of your teeth on a nightly basis. So I thought you guys would like that. Then you time block your planning schedule, okay? So for example, in here, it's on a Sunday. Now that's what the person that was using this in the book, use that as an example. Maybe you don't want to do it on Sunday. Mine are 2 to 3 o'clock on Fridays, okay? So, and sometimes I don't always do that, okay? So what you have to do is if you replace something, if you erase, you must replace during that same day. So you've got to do your planning schedule. If you don't do it on that day, you need to replace it just like you would with any appointment. You reschedule with yourself, okay? And you should even charge yourself if you don't fulfill doing what your appointment is to kind of create it to a high level. Because we put these in our calendar, and I've done this. I've been a fault at myself is working out my calendar, but then I don't actually stick to it. So that's what we want to do is figure out how do we create the accountability and the leverage, the emotional headlock, if you will, on ourselves to be able to do it. And that comes through coaching or an accountability group or through a mastermind group. And we're going to talk about these things. So I'd like for you to now to time block your one thing. If it's drink water, whatever it is, pull out your calendar, pull out your phone, you know, wherever you can put this on either a task list or actually schedule it, which is even better, to time block it into your calendar. I'm going to drink water, or I'm going to do my morning ritual, or I'm going to ride my bike, or I'm going to do exercise at this point in time, and schedule that out, just like it's an appointment with any physician or MD that you're going to, or an attorney. Make an appointment with yourself, okay? So, and remember, we're just dating your perfect week here, okay? I'm going to show you what my perfect week looks like, okay? But obviously, since it's a perfect week, that we know there's nothing perfect out there, right? So we're not married to it. We just try to make it better and better. And this helps you prioritize so that you can more easily say no thank you whenever somebody asks you to do something, because you realize what you are committed to, right, in your life. So this was my perfect week pre-coronavirus, okay, because I was scheduling just for myself, okay? And so that's what it looks like. You can see in the green, that's my one thing, that's my Sabbath rest. We're doing our financial goals. And then the blue are the relational pieces, dates with each of my daughters and my wife, okay? And then you see everything else that's in there too. And then I've got open space too. You don't want to have to be so jam-packed that, you know, you don't have any open space if you can do that. Pull some open space to give some reality there. But, you know, from 9 to 1, that was my one thing time. But now my wife is a relationship coach. She does executive coaching as well. And so here's the deal. This is Team Cashin. This is our whole family's perfect week. So you see in the green, that's still me. Those are still my responsibilities. Now you've got still my bike. I do that from 7 to 8, riding my bike, and my wife walks. And then I do breakfast, so while she's walking. And then we get the girls up, and I'm taking care of them with breakfast. And then during my working hours, the girls work. Now, granted, this is not perfect. You know, Lily's got some clients that have been different. I did a workshop for another organization, you know, dental organization. And so what we're doing, though, is we're trying to figure it out in writing so that we can see really where we're going to be able to do what we need to do. That way she knows where she can schedule her clients, and I know where I can schedule my clients and do my gigs and all that kind of stuff. But then we ask if we're going into it outside of that time frame, and we can talk to each other about it. But she's got actually a time to work, not just only doing her clients in there as well. And then the girls, you know, are out of school, so they've got time to work as well. So that's what's been something that's really helped us create structure for our family.